Welcome to Labour Grassroots. I am boiling hot in the red jacket and the hat. This is a big show about the NEC elections that are coming up. Linda, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really pleased to be back, and I must be your most often appeared NEC member on this show.
You definitely are.
The priority is to win the next election. It has to be that we've got to get a Labour government into power. So we've got to get to that stage. And for me, it's about creating and building that broad church. Governance has got to work for the members, not the few.
I agree that ensuring that we have a Labour government is very important. But something that's equally, if not more important, is how we get there. So destination, yes, is very, very important. But how we get there is equally, if not more important. What I mean about how we get there is our socialist and radical views. What type of society do we want to live in? How do we hold the government to account? What arguments are we putting forward? How are we creating a better environment within the party? So you would see the anti-immigrant rhetoric that the government and the media that have been pushing out recently. The Labour Party need to be outspoken and stand in solidarity with our refugee asylum seekers and our migrant brothers and sisters who are fleeing war and conflict in search for a better life. How we get there is by ensuring that we have zero tolerance to all forms of racism. We've seen nasty and disgusting abuse to some of our Black MPs. We've seen Afrophobia and anti-Black racism rife within our party, but no one's but an eyelid. We need to be real and authentic as a party. We can't be seen to be cozying up and to the Tories or trying to pander to voters who won't even vote for us in the first place.
A couple of days ago, I went to the Mansfield Schools Out project. And this is a project where activists in the Mansfield CLP and local councillors had actually put together food collections, clothes collections, and people from schools in the local area, students were informed that they could drop by to these sessions and actually with the parents and collect food, items of clothing and that sort of thing, so that they don't go hungry throughout the school holiday. So I think projects like that would be very positive in tackling the austerity measures which the Conservative government have brought in, obviously, since 2010. And as we know, as I think we all know, that'll only get harsher throughout this pandemic. And I think it'll be the working class that will pay the price at the end of it.
Julie Reid, who's another candidate who's in Manchester. Is that right, Julie?
I am, yes. I'm in Manchester, yeah.
What do you think about the NEC? Because the NEC, you're a councillor as well. I get the feeling that they have a lot of work on their plate, people on the NEC. They've got loads of emails coming in. I mean, if there's 500,000 members, that's a lot of emails. I'm not saying 500,000 all email at once, but do you think NEC members should have support either with staff to help them or some kind of financial wage?
No, I don't. I think that's never been the role of the NEC.
I just mean it. You've probably got a job and a councillor.
Yeah, I have, and I don't have staff. MPs have staff. I don't have staff.
But do you think that's not too much work? So you couldn't really.
Of course, it's too much work, but it's my job. So it's just what you have to do. In the same way that I was teaching from home and I was available to my students, during the lockdown, right up until the time when they were given the grades. That you need to be available. If you're not available, then you're not doing the job properly. It's as simple as that. That's. I think at every level of the Labour Party, you have to be available to the members to answer their questions. And asking for staff is just it's not possible. The party can't afford that.
Oh, come on! The party's got loads in the bank.
Well, look, we're going to need any money that we've got. We're going to need to campaign with.
Because even in a theoretical world where the NEC had staff, because of the amount of members in our party, it would be very hard to reply to individual emails, although I try my best as an NEC member, as I think everyone on the NEC does. I think we've got to look at new ways of NEC members engaging with members. For example, in this NEC campaign, I'm offering to visit any CLP who wants me for a Zoom call. And if I was elected to the NEC, I'd be looking to do sort of regional meetings with members. So not just to get a big national picture, but actually to connect with members on the ground, to ask them what's happening in their region, what's working well, what's not working well, so that we can feed that back to the leadership and also use that in thinking about how we develop the party.
Are you in a car, Mark?
I am in a car, yes. I'm sorry, I'm driving up, but I'm not driving, obviously. Someone else is driving.
What have you heard from to this discussion so far that you'd like to pick up on?
You know, I'm actually quite sympathetic with your views in relation to better resources for NEC members. You know, my experience, anyone who's gone into Labour Party headquarters, there's an incredible amount of staff there. And I don't think it really takes much imagination to think that maybe some of the staff there could actually directly assist individual members and help them to do what is an incredibly important job. You know, there's an incredible amount of, there seems to be a lot of legal actions going on at the moment, a lot of money being spent on legal actions. And maybe let's hope that in the future we're not going to be doing much of that, and that money can actually go towards helping the NEC and individual members of the NEC do their job. But also, I think we have to be realistic about what's happening on the NEC at the moment. That you know, my experience of the NEC is that a lot of agreements and a lot of stuff is taking place, and really decisions are made long before they hit the agenda of the NEC table. And I think that's something that we need to clamp down on quite heavily. We need to really almost take control back from the party structure and give it back to the NEC to make sure the NEC has the power to do what is necessary. When I say what is necessary, it means engaging more with members.
I'm going to bring in Mish Rahman. Are you there, Mish?
Yeah, Crispin, how are you?
Now, so suppose you get elected onto the NEC, what would your first priority be?
Quite simply, I think the first priority has to be to fix the relationship between the NEC and the members, and to democratise the party into a real socialist member-led party, because that's bottom line, that's what we are. One of the underlying reasons why the Labour Party continues to lose support, especially, is because the party takes certain sections of the community for granted, amongst them especially young members. Scotland, we know we've lost, working class communities, and particularly the BAME community, as we've seen with certain recent events. So these, I mean, they feel that these communities probably have nowhere else to cast their votes. But year by year, this situation is changing. I mean, there's going to be a time when it's a parallel between the red wall seats and the Labour's BAME voters, where even if they don't vote for the Conservatives, there's a danger they're not going to vote at all. We're not going to win in 2024 by out-Torying the Tories. That's simply not going to happen. So we're going to face the biggest recession we've ever seen, and post-COVID, and we're going to have so many people out of work.
Our last but not least, by no means least, whatever it is that silly saying, is John Wiseman. Are you right, John?
Basically, introduce myself. I'm Councillor John Wiseman. Been active in the party 20 years.
Hold on a minute, John. Yeah, we're not doing any pictures in this one.
I know, go on, I was waiting. I just thought I was doing the intro.
We're just doing the old, I'll ask you the question. What do you think needs to change?
I think we've got a fundamental problem in democracy in the party. I think the MPF, even though I used to be on it, doesn't engage in policy enough. But I think we need to go, not just go, we need to give people hope. We can support people through food banks now, but what are we going to do for them in the longer term? And what's the party going to do for them in the longer term? And we've had a radical set of socialist policies. That came out through Corbyn. Ed Miliband took us towards that. Jeremy took us way towards that. And I think people got engaged for the first time in the party. The membership shot up to over 500,000 people. And we started getting people turning up to events, talking about things they'd never been talking about before. They'd never been in politics before. And I think the party's not listening to those people. What we're doing, we opened the door under Jeremy and Ed, and we seem to be closing it again.